The way I describe it to people, especially students who aren't familiar with the way this works yet, is that just simply put yourself in the hiring manager's shoes.
Exactly.
And when you send a job posting out on my site, a Capitol Hill job averages 100 to 150 resumes in the first 24 hours. So how do you get your resume to the top of that pile? Think of a physical pile of resumes, right? And
Mhm.
so you're the hiring manager, and two of your friends reach out to you and say, and this one person you worked with on a campaign, and then one of a person that you just got drinks with last week, and they
Mhm.
both say, "Hey, um, I know you just posted this, but Michael, I met Michael. He worked with me on this other job. He's
Exactly.
fantastic. You could totally talk to him." Like, oh, I trust my friend that I worked on the campaign.
Of
That's
course.
awesome. I'll interview, and then I interview you, and as the hiring manager, I hear from somebody else that my actual friend that I got beers with last week that they did initial coffee with you and they were incredibly impressed by you. So those two people that I trust their opinions are telling me to hire you. It's done. Like
It's
you
easy.
have the job
Right.
because it's so hard to get to the hiring manager. And now, if you're in a competition, an arms race of recommendations, you might not win that, but at least you're going to get interviewed and at least you're going to have a candidacy. And if you keep doing that, you could succeed. Now, often students say, well, I don't have a network. Where do I start? And that's the key of what I've also found really successful for people is if you were to ask a random stranger in DC to get coffee with you, give advice, they'll do it. But what makes them more likely to do it is if you share a common connection. And that common connection be hometown, home state, ethnicity, race, gender, fraternity, sorority,
University.
fandom
Yep.
of a sports team,
Yep.
university, grad school. Like, I don't care if we went to Hopkins grad, you can ask somebody on the hill, say, hey, we're both Blue Jays or whatever the heck the
Right.
Hopkins mascot is. Can you get coffee? That person's a little more likely to do that to help you out not only initially but then longer term. And
Well, and
then
what that
the
shows
way
is
I
that you're interested in them.
that's right, totally right. And the way I describe it is like a web. So if I've reached out to five people and here's my hometown thread, here's my university, ethnicity, religion, and fraternity sorority, because I talked to that person based off our same fraternity, just me doesn't mean that I'm going to continue to get people that fraternity. That person say, "Oh, you're interested in environmental law. I'm going to connect you with somebody in this office who's that member is really good at environmental law." And then, "Oh, you're from Oklahoma. I'm going to connect you with my friend from Oklahoma." So there's this huge web of all these people that you've talked to, had a coffee with, did a
Mhm.
phone call, met at a reception, but you have to keep track of these folks. So that's where LinkedIn is incredibly helpful. So you connect with them on LinkedIn immediately. But what I do is I do a Google sheet or somewhere I can access at all times. First name, last name, email, and notes from my conversation. So that when I say, okay, I'm applying to Patrick McHenry's office, how in the world am I going to get in there? I open up my spreadsheet and see that, oh, Whit Askew's from North Carolina originally, and he worked in House Republican leadership. I bet he knows this people in McHenry's office.
Mhm.
Hey, Whit, hope you remember me. I'm Tom. We got coffee 2 years ago. I'm now applying for a legislative assistant in Patrick McHenry's office. I assume you might know some folks in that office. Oh, hey, Tom, yeah, it's great. Let me send your resume
Yeah.
over. But I would never remembered Whit had I not kept that spreadsheet and kept notes of where they're from originally, where they worked in the past, a link to their LinkedIn profile. You got to be that organized about it to maximize it. Now, you don't have to be that organized. You just rely on LinkedIn. That's fine as well. But just to kind of remind yourself in a quick moment's notice and to keep and
Yeah.
to more force yourself to keep track of it all. That's the way I do it.